The open world, a feature of video games as a whole that have become very prevalent in the past decade. Maybe too prevalent to some, but not to me. I love open worlds. Something about exploring the land, unlocking secrets, doing quests, the whole 9 yards. And guess what? Open worlds have become commonplace for LEGO games, and it all started with LEGO Batman 2. This game was the first to feature an open world, Gotham City. Sure, it's covered with those ugly blue and white checkered acrobatic walls, but I'd say this is a very solid first stab at an explorable environment by TT Games. It's by no means their best open world, but it did a good job at encapsulating the dark and dreary vibe that we expect from this fictional city. Gotham, in reality, was based off of Chicago in the United States, which, first of all, sorry Chicago that you inspired the most crime-ridden city in all of fictional media, Gotham, especially considering that shiny and clean metropolis was based off of New York. Someone over at DC Comics was biased, but, whatever. Does LEGO Batman 2's take on Gotham seem anything like Chicago? As someone who has been there, I would say not. First, Chicago isn't on an island with no means of escape. Sure, Gotham has a park, skyscrapers, and a subway just like Chicago, but that can also be said for every real-life city, so it's kind of a moot point. Chicago's roads are definitely not barren and riddled with totaled cars like there are in this game. LEGO Batman 2's Gotham also has a ton of NPCs just walking around, like way too many. But what is the point of all these roads if literally no vehicles are using it and everyone is walking? Like, I appreciate walkable cities as much as the next guy, but it seems a little suspicious that the only cars you see on the road are crashed ones. Maybe there's a villain that targets moving vehicles and everyone learned to adapt by just walking all the time? I mean, that seems like a petty villain that's right up Batman's alley. But then again, why hasn't Batman caught him yet? This open world also makes sure to include all the staple locations you expect to see. Up north, there's Wayne Manor with the Batcave underneath, where you can spawn vehicles. Down south, there's Wayne Tower that towers over everything else in the city. And in between, you got Ace Chemicals, Gotham Hospital, Gotham City Hall, Gotham Power Plant. There's an amusement park far, far north, a botanical garden, Arkham Asylum out on its own island. There's more I haven't mentioned, but the last thing I want to talk about are these giant statues. All over the open world, there are these statues of regular minifigures. My main complaint with the open world is that they overdid it with these statue guys. They are everywhere. They're holding up buildings, holding up pipes that run throughout the city. This one is dabbing. I thought this one was peeing until I realized his face was pointing the other way. Do I even want to know what's happening here? I want to know the name of the mayor of Gotham who approved these statues that are all over the city. Or maybe just the name of the developer who got the idea. That'll suffice. Another special suit coming at you here, and it's actually a returning one from the first LEGO Batman game. Well, kind of. The first game had a suit that was similar but named differently and had a different function. In the first game, it was the Attract suit. You collect debris and deposit it into a machine, which will make something. This game, it's the Hazard suit, and you spray water or colored goop based on the puzzle. Okay, they're nothing alike in name or function, but look. I think the Hazard suit was at least somewhat inspired by the first game's Attract suit. Please, just let me have this. But the Hazard suit has somewhat of an exclusive ability. First, let's go over the repeats. With this being the Hazard suit, you can bet that toxic gunk would be no threat to this guy. Next, his hefty suit sinks him to the bottom of pools with the dive ability. And being a Robin, he can grapple. But his next and final thing, and half-exclusive thing, is something he sacrificed the Batarangs for. That hazard cannon of his, though, yeah, that's a whole mechanic in this game. Frequently, you'll have to wash away toxic goop with water, and Hazard Suit Robin can do that. However, he can only hold so much water in the tank on his back. If he runs out, you'll have to find a source of water to refill. Conveniently, a little kiddie pool of water is usually near the place you're expected to clean up. But water isn't the only thing that can fill up that tank. There's another common puzzle seen in both story levels and the open world where you have to fill up certain tanks with a certain colored paint. The tanks will be colored the same as the paint they need, and only the Hazard suit can fill it. Like I hinted earlier, the Hazard cannon is half exclusive. I say that because it depends on what you're shooting out of it. If you're shooting water, yeah, someone else can do that. We just haven't gotten to them yet. But the paint, only Hazard Suit Robin can do that. And as we all know, exclusive abilities get characters big boosts in the ranking. For puzzles involving paint tanks, you need to find a hazard suit pad around, or else you aren't getting that collectible. Batman's electricity suit is a new one that wasn't in the last game, and I feel like this one is more feasible than the ones it replaced. I mean, I'm sure a heat-resistant bat suit can be supplied by Lucius Fox or whatever, but Batman would never opt for a red suit. It's too noticeable and it can't be used to blend in any environment. Maybe, I don't know, a volcano, but how often do you see one of those in Gotham? An electricity-resistant suit, though, is not only something Batman would request to be made, but the suit you see before you can still blend in dark environments. That is, when you aren't transmitting electricity, which segues me into the main gimmick of the suit. The electricity suit's main thing is taking electricity from one source and plugging it into another. There are these terminals that either have electricity spewing from it, or maybe they don't. If it does, you can approach it with the electricity suit and take the power out of the terminal. When that happens, the electricity will be spewing from Batman himself. Then, you can take the electricity overloaded Batman to a similar terminal without power and insert the electricity into it. This will power whatever it's attached to and will open up something, or maybe give you a collectible, whatever. The only downside is that with this suit, you can only transfer power from one place to another. You can't generate it yourself like we see with a certain other character we have yet to see. With this being the electricity suit, naturally this suit is immune to electricity, and it should be noted that this is the only character in the base game that has immunity to electricity. Finally, as I'm contractually obligated to say, electricity suit Batman has the grapple and batarang abilities. Not to bombard you with these 3 special suits in a row, that's just how it shook out in the rankings. What I do mean to bombard you with is the explosive-like qualities of our next suit here, the power suit of Batman. This suit was not messing around. Unusually swole for Batman, but is still second to the Dark Knight Returns Batman from the LEGO Batman 3 DLC. The power suit is one of 2 characters in this game to be able to blow up Silver Lego, with the other being the Penguin. What's interesting though is that their explosives work differently. With the Penguin, he had his minions. Yeah, they get the job done, but they can only hit Silver Lego at ground level, which works most of the time, but there are those rare moments where the Silver Lego is above you. That's where the power suit comes in, which can target Silver Lego and shoot projectile missiles. Yeah, the power suit Batman can't use batarangs, but the explosives you target instead is a more than apt replacement, seeing as it's the only thing in the game that can explode Silver Lego at different elevations. But that's not even it. The whole reason why it's called the power suit isn't because of the explosives, it's because of the strength ability that he has. It feels a little weird that he has it considering how common the ability is with the rest of the roster, but I by no means mean that as a complaint. Finally, you already know what I have to say. He has grapple, the standard Batman thing to complement the 2 other things. Now we get to the true heavy hitters. And I mean, there's only 16 characters after this, but it feels like we're just getting started. Them's the curse of small rosters though, I guess. Wonder Woman is one of the main 3 of the Justice League though, so her spot in the roster is definitely deserved. Just like all other Justice League members aside from Batman and Superman, she kinda got thrown to the wayside. She's only playable in the last level of the campaign, which also happens to be the extremely short level where you just fight the Joker bot's face. Literally the entire level, it's just the Joker bot just all broken down. Evidently though, she's still a good character regardless, seeing as she's number 17. Firstly, she has flight, and before you ask, she doesn't use her invisible jet to do so. But you can unlock a mini build of the invisible jet through collecting minikits. Another bonus to her is that she has invincibility, which will come to be a common trait among these high-ranking characters. She also has boomerang. I'm not sure what's being boomeranged here. I think it's her tiara, but it just looks like a tacky Wonder Woman themed boomerang. Additionally, she can pull hooks off with her lasso of truth, giving her the grapple ability. And then finally, she has strength. I'm not gonna lie, I understand that she has a lot of abilities, and the developers made sure to incorporate a lot of her traits to give her these abilities. You know, lasso of truth for grapple, the tiara for boomerang, but at the end of the day, these abilities are pretty common, you know? But I'm not going to lie, these boring abilities that she has are still heavily used in the game, so maybe it's not necessary to complain. You guys know the time-old tale of LEGO games, something we've seen time and time again. Dark Force in LEGO Star Wars, Dark Magic in LEGO Harry Potter, and then straight up Sword Magic in LEGO Pirates of the Caribbean. Well, it's no different here with one of the main antagonists of this game, Lex Luthor. Lexi here has one singular ability, but it's exclusive to him, and you use this ability more than almost any other in the game, especially for collectibles. It's called deconstruct. Lex champions this state-of-the-art deconstructor gun, which disassembles anything black. Conveniently, black is Batman's main color, which is part of the reason why he teamed up with Superman in the first place. When you unlock Lex Luthor in the roster, you come to find that he's always carrying this gun, which I guess isn't a bad thing. It's just that you wouldn't expect a conniving genius billionaire to be carrying this big weapon. He's definitely hired some guy to carry it and shoot it for him.
You could say a goon. What? A goon could carry his gun for him. A goon, like in Lego Batman 2. Okay, just get out of here.
At least his slam down attack using the gun looks cool. But yeah, this deconstructor gun can take apart sparkling black pieces you see in levels and in the open world. They are definitely used a lot, so if you're trying to complete this game as fast as possible, I'd suggest focusing on finding Lex Luthor's boss fight in the open world and unlocking him as soon as you get the funds. I partially feel as though Lex Luthor should be higher based on how often you use this exclusive ability, but then I thought about other games. Blackbeard, spoilers for my LEGO Pirates series, was at the top of the list, mostly for his unique ability that no one else had, and that you used his power a ton, but also he had more to offer. He had a sword, he could target, and he was frickin' strong. Lex Luthor, other than his exclusive evil ability, has nothing. And no, putting on a toupee as an idle animation does not count, as much as I want it to. Sorry, Arthur, you didn't get invited to the Gotham get-together in this game, but don't worry, you'll get a spot on the roster out of pity. Aquaman was one of the founding members of the Justice League, but let's be real. What is the Fishman gonna do in a burning skyscraper or against a giant Joker robot? I suppose Martian Manhunter made the right call in not contacting him. But man, Aquaman, is your journey in the decade after this game's release an exciting one? They decided to go for campy Aquaman in this game as opposed to the grisly Aquaman we've seen with Jason Momoa, or maybe the GameCube game Aquaman, just, badass Aquaman. And I think it's the right call to go campy for this guy in this game specifically. There's already so much drab scenery all throughout the levels and open world. A few more bright colors would be welcome. And hey, at least he got a villain of his in the villain DLC. Aquaman, though, is a little special. First, him being a resident of Atlantis gives him the abilities of dive and strength. And before you ask, no, not even he can escape the Gotham prison island. His third ability is semi-exclusive. Remember with the hazard suit, I mentioned that water can be wielded by one other character? Here that character is. Aquaman's water jet via trident comes in clutch a lot. There is a lot of Joker graffiti splattered around the game, and Aquaman can wash those away without needing a pool of water. You have unlimited water ammo, so you don't have to worry about conserving or filling up like you do with the hazard suit. But as the only character wielding such an unusual weapon, it's nice to see these fighting animations that aren't used with any other character. The Justice League is known to have 7 founding members of the team. You got Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, The Flash, redacted for 2 more segments, and finally, the 7th member. Well, it depends who you ask. If you ask the guys who developed this game, they'd say Cyborg. We know this because Cyborg was the one chosen to help out Batman near the end of the game. And honestly, bless Aquaman and his water jet, but Cyborg's ability set is pretty solid. First of all, this is the first official LEGO Cyborg we've ever seen. We've never officially seen this version of Cyborg in physical form, but the first physical Cyborg we did see was a clear improvement. Cyborg's whole thing is that his robot body gives him access to a nigh unlimited tool set. Thankfully for him, a lot of that can be translated into abilities in this game. Cyborg, being half a hunk of metal, allows him to interact with blue objects with the magnet ability. Coincidentally, him being a hunk of metal also makes him part tank, so he can easily pull those orange handles with strength. And thirdly, take a good look at that eye of his, or lack of one. and in instead is a laser tool to shave down gold metal walls and bust gold pieces. So yeah, those 3 abilities are used a ton everywhere. So he's a solid choice for when you need a few different abilities in succession. Here he is at unlucky number 13, it's the Joker. The main villain of the game, tricking Lex into financing his giant Joker bot that you deal with for an uncomfortable amount of levels. Now, the Joker being so high on the list should clue you in that he's worth playing. And you would be correct. The Joker has about 1.5 abilities that are exclusive. I'll save the half for last. The 2 abilities we've seen before that Joker has is Toxin Immunity and Target with his Tommy gun. If you played the first game, this isn't new. What is new are the Joker boxes. These operate the same as Riddler boxes, but the boxes are Joker themed this time around. They're used the same way as the Riddler boxes too, as a means to gain red bricks and select mini kits. They're just as boring too. The final ability is the half exclusive one, and it has to do with electricity. You may remember the electricity suit of Batman, and how he can only give a terminal electricity if he gets it from somewhere else. Well, the Joker cuts out the middleman. The Joker can power down and juice up any terminal without having to collect the electricity from a separate terminal. However, the trade-off is that the Joker isn't immune to electricity like the electricity suit is. Objectively, Joker's electricity is preferable to the electricity suit's electricity ability. Sure, you aren't immune to electricity as the Joker, but the electricity fields that you may need to traverse through aren't prevalent enough to discount the advantage of being able to charge up anything anytime. Also, depending on where you are, you can probably fly over the electricity fields with another character anyway. Alright, we can unredact that statement I made in the Cyborg segment. This is the 7th founding member of the Justice League, and he's low-key the GOAT of the founding members too. This guy commits his entire life to the Watchtower and the team. To be fair, I don't think he has much interest in Earth society in any capacity anyway, but his dedication to their safety is admirable. Martian Manhunter made a quick cameo in the story as the guy who assembles the Justice League in the last few levels of the game, but he doesn't show up himself. Martian Manhunter is pretty useful in this game, as 2 of his abilities are also extras. The guy has super build and invincibility right out of the gate, no extra required. However, Martian Manhunter is still invulnerable to fire, which, listen, it's cool that he's invulnerable to it, but if you don't know, Martian Manhunter has an inherent fear of fire. It's a pretty well-known weakness among DC fans. The developers should have made an exception with Martian Manhunter's invincibility and made it so he can't get too close to fire without shying away or something. Because why am I able to have Martian Manhunter stand right on a fire and have it engulf him with no sign of any harm? It might be a petty complaint, but that just doesn't sit well with me. Other than that, Martian Manhunter has flight, laser, and strength. A pretty cool ability lineup that makes up for his inaccurate portrayal. Brainiac's presence in this game irks me. It truly feels like he shouldn't be here. Let me explain. Brainiac, surprisingly, actually appears in the story, in the very end. After the heroes stand together and have their corny group laugh, the perspective zooms out to Brainiac, who has just discovered Earth. This is to tease LEGO Batman 3 Beyond Gotham, where he is going to be the next main antagonist. So why did they make him an unlockable character through an open world boss fight? It kind of makes him look incompetent, the way you beat him down in the middle of Gotham Park. How am I supposed to think he's intimidating? I know it's just a LEGO game, but still. They also give him a tacky UFO as an unlockable vehicle. Way to go, TT Games, you've successfully dampened any hype towards him being the next main baddie in LEGO Batman 3. But, all that aside, this guy's pretty useful overall. He is the most optimized specimen, so he says, so it makes sense. The guy flies, he magnets, he's swole, and to top it all off, he has invincibility. No extra needed. The guy just can't get hurt. He doesn't have anything strictly exclusive, but he's similar to Cyborg in that he covers a lot of ground with the abilities that he has. You probably can get a lot of collectibles just from switching between these 2 guys alone.